Welcome to the FullyCrypto podcast.
Hello and welcome to the FullyCrypto podcast, your home of quality cryptocurrency and blockchain news, opinion, analysis, and more. It's Friday once again, and that means it's time to join me, Mark Hunter, as we sit by the well-stocked lake that is the week's crypto news, waiting patiently for the top stories of the past 7 days to come swimming by and impale themselves on our hook. With mainstream media turning the FUD all the way up to 11, Ethereum 2.0 finally getting a dose of optimism, and the NFT world enjoying a genuinely momentous occasion, it's time to open our box, grab our tackle, and go fish. Last weekend saw several mainstream media outlets go all Russell Crowe and unleash hell on Bitcoin, savaging it via a blitz of negativity that will forever become known as Salty Saturday. To me, at least. No less than 5 separate attacks on Bitcoin all occurred on the same day in the UK and America, with everything from its environmental impact, again, to problem Bitcoin ATMs under the spotlight. The Guardian and Business Insider went with the environmental angle, with The Guardian revealing that Bitcoin's energy use is more than some countries, before then going on to say that there is no way of knowing whether miners are using electricity that's fueled by renewable energy or fossil fuels, which somewhat undermines the arguments of the fossil fuel brigade. Business Insider cited an investment officer for Societe Generale who warned that Bitcoin's environmental issues are making institutional investors wary of it. Of course, there's no way this can be proven, handy that, but with dozens of institutional investors already on board and the price still increasing, it doesn't seem to have had too much of a detrimental effect. The Financial Times claimed that Bitcoin's investors don't know where money comes from due to inaccuracy over the money printing meme that has been doing the rounds for some months now. The FT reminded us that governments and central banks don't print money, but that instead commercial banks print money and lend it to governments as debt, which of course involves no money printing at all, just national debt printing. And when was that such a bad thing? Bloomberg had a pop at what it called, somewhat melodramatically, the crypto mafia, saying that CEOs from the likes of Coinbase, Pantera Capital, Digital Currency Group, and the Winklevoss twins somehow run the whole show. Of course, they are powerful people in the space, but if they tried to shut down crypto tomorrow, it would be met with not so much a Russell Crowe approach, more an iceberg to the Titanic approach. Of course, Coinbase, Pantera, Gemini, and the like are big companies in this space. But crypto is here before them, and it will be here when they're gone. The Telegraph was clearly handed the short straw in the Salty Saturday lottery and was left with Bitcoin ATMs to whinge about. They interviewed the first installer of a Bitcoin ATM in Britain, Paul Chima, who said that he had to remove it because he didn't like the sort of people who came to use it. Cue much gnashing of teeth about only criminals using Bitcoin. Except the rest of the article undermined its negative headline by noting that the implementation of KYC has massively reduced the criminal element, and quoting another Bitcoin ATM operator as saying that we have not had any issues. Except that doesn't quite make for as negative or snappy a headline, does it? Interestingly, both Bitcoin ATM providers agreed that cash is on its way out, which they preferred because, and get ready for this, holding too much cash makes them susceptible to criminal activity. Now stick that in your headline and smoke it. This week, FullyCrypto covered an aspect of the NFT market that has, for obvious reasons, been overlooked: tax. That might not sound like a sexy subject to talk about, but when NFTs are selling for millions of dollars and the difference in what you take home can be as much as hundreds of thousands of dollars, it makes sense to know what you're dealing with before you go posting your NFTs on OpenSea for 30 ETH or buying up cheap digital art in the hopes of selling it for millions one day. Like all crypto trades, the tax rules around NTFs are governed by 2 types of tax: income tax and capital gains tax. Income tax refers to money received for goods and services, while capital gains tax refers to gains made by the sale of an asset. When it comes to NFTs, the type of tax that applies to you will depend on the role you've played in the process. For example, let's say we have two NFT artists, Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret of the House of Windsor and Gary. Gary is an American taxpayer, and Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret is a British taxpayer. Just imagine. Both Gary and Princess Margaret create NFTs which sell for $1 million, or, in Princess Margaret's case, £1 million. The money from these sales is classed as income because it was paid in return for a service, or rather it wasn't profit made on a previously purchased asset. Both Gary and Princess Margaret will therefore have to pay income tax on the sale. Again, just imagine. A final tax bill of course depends on numerous factors including other income, but imagine for our purposes that the sale was Gary and Princess Margaret's only income that year. As a result, Gary will face a tax bill of around $50,000 from his sale, leaving him with a healthy profit. But Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret of the House of Windsor will face a much tougher time. She will have to pay almost half of her £1 million in tax, $457,000. Worse, she could also have to pay up to half that amount again over the following 12 to 15 months alongside this fee due to the vagaries of the UK tax system. This means that of the £1 million she earned from the sale, within 15 months she may have had to pay out £915,600 in tax. The only way she can reduce this is by convincing the taxman that she won't earn as much the next year. However, she still faces losing around half of that to tax, whatever happens. The situation is reversed, however, when it comes to capital gains tax. Let's say our NFT artists turn into collectors and each buys an NFT for $100 and £100 respectively, whilst taking jobs at their respective countries' annual salaries. They then both sell their NFTs for $1 million and £1 million respectively 6 months later. This is classed as capital gains tax. As a result of the sale, Gary will have to pay $475,920 on the $999,900 profit he made, some 50%. However, Princess Margaret will only have to pay £195,000 on the profit she made from the sale, given the capital gains tax rates in the UK. These huge differences show that becoming an NFT millionaire isn't as simple as it sounds. Yes, you can sell your GIF, your sketch or your animation for $10 million, but depending where you pay your taxes, you might not see much of it once the taxman has had his say. Of course, you could just decide not to pay your taxes, in which case we don't want to talk to you, you naughty, naughty people. On the subject of NFTs, today also sees a landmark moment in NFT adoption. Kings of Leon, famous for that song you couldn't escape all f***ing summer about 10 years ago, have released their new album, When You See Yourself, as an NFT. In an industry that's more desperate for real-world adoption than Bill Gates is to control the world's population through a vaccine program, this is a legitimately big deal. The NFT will be released through the Yellow Heart platform and is available in packages that include 4 front-row tickets to any Kings of Leon show for life and 6 individual art pieces celebrating the release of the album and the band's legacy. The album release is a genuine game changer in the blockchain and NFT space, and as such has generated headlines around the world. While music NFTs have enjoyed something of an underground presence in the last few years, this is the first album ever to be released in an NFT format. The response to the move was a combination of excitement, confusion, and pessimism, depending on what side of the crypto blockchain divide you sit, with more than one person lamenting the environmental impact of blockchain technology, illustrating that mainstream media's change in tactics is having its inevitable impact. What's interesting is that many of those criticising this new technology will have themselves been early adopters of digital music in the late 1990s and early 2000s, at a time when it was considered, yes, the preserve of criminals looking to steal music, only for it to become the preeminent way of playing music today. Plus ça change. This week, we learned that the Optimism mainnet has been expedited and brought forward to March. The Ethereum Layer 2 solution has been in the works since 2018, and its launch couldn't have come at a better time, with Ethereum gas fees still higher than a weather vane on Mount Etna. Optimism may only be one of a cluster of Layer 2 scaling solutions being put forward for the Ethereum 2.0 upgrade, but being the first to reach mainnet by some margin, there is a lot of pressure on it to succeed. Should it not succeed, or should the results not be as impressive as everyone in the Ethereum camp hopes they will be, it really could spell trouble for Ethereum. Even though the entire DeFi movement is based on the Ethereum platform, the fees involved in simple transactions are setting back the movement. There are no shortage of alternative platforms ready to take over the DeFi mantle, and we've already seen some DeFi projects jump ship to the likes of Matic. And if Ethereum cannot scale with Optimism in the next few months, then serious questions will start to be asked of its ability to really take the DeFi revolution forward. DeFi has put up with Ethereum's slow, clunky performance to date, but it won't hang around much longer. That's it for today's episode of the FullyCrypto podcast. If you liked what you heard and want to be notified every time our blessings are ready to reach your ears, simply subscribe to the FullyCrypto podcast on your platform of choice and make sure your alerts are facing the on position. Until next time, thanks for listening, peace be with you, and please make sure you take your rubbish home with you. We're going to need a bigger boat!